And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Lads, I don't know what film you were watching, but it wasn't the same film I saw.
I'm all the man you need, Mark.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked and appalled.
So I'll bring it up, Ted.
It wasn't a very good movie. I laughed at it more than I laughed at The Possession.
Good evening and welcome to Is It a Bicycle? Season 7, Episode 12, the original and bestest ever TV and movie podcast from Ireland. My name is Stephen Wrigley and I'll be your host for this evening. Beside me is a man who this week discovered that you should never make eye contact while eating a banana. It's Mike McDonough. Joining us this week, live from Vegas, we've a man who's thrown out of a casino for misunderstanding the use of a craps table. It's Sean, Isle of Cannes Leonard. This week we're once again joined by a lady who says people who live in glass houses should not throw orgies. It's Shona, I love Canadians.
My favorite one yet.
This week we hope to discuss some movies in form of TheRover and Are You Here? And some TV in the shape of Houdini and The Cosmopolitans. Of course, we'll have the usuals, the news with Steve, and some trailers in Coming to a Bicycle near you. So, how are we doing?
Hi, everyone.
Thank you.
You're doing good? Good.
I hope our listeners are doing well.
Say that again, Sean, sir?
I hope our listeners are doing well. That's what I care about.
So what did you see this week, Sean? It isn't on the list.
Right. Well, what I actually saw was that Is It a Bicycle is nominated for yet another award.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Who did it?
Oh.
Tweet us, tell us.
Whoever nominated us, Ara Jesus, you're great.
Yeah. This is the Web Awards, webawards.ie.
Wait, this shit goes on the web.
Yeah, no.
I thought this was just like a book club.
Nominated under actually
Stop
best
the
web
press.
only publication, apparently. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I know, we duped you.
Shouldn't I have had to sign like a release form or something?
We'll get to that. Yeah.
Yes, Shona, the internet is forever.
I've been partly praising and partly complaining about the strain for quite some time in this section of the podcast.
Yes.
They finally did what I wanted them to do, where they just put all of the characters in a shop and just went, right, everyone's coming to kill you. Let's see if you survive.
Nice.
This was episode 9, wasn't it?
Episode 8 was the siege, but episode 9 has continued the trend of let's go kill vampires really, really well.
Hold on, Sean. Now, first of all, the strain is coming to the network Watch. So, like, the pilot is going to be coming up for me soon, and I'm going to be watching it, so don't give away episode 9.
Okay. Well, all I'll say is that they finally started a pattern that I can get behind.
Okay.
The pattern of give me lots of blood and gore and fighting. So
Okay.
that's great.
Can't
Yeah.
go wrong with that.
And I went back and pursued The Nick as well.
Oh, did you?
Reviewed a few episodes ago. Yeah, it's quite good. Everyone's shit seems to be the message. Everyone's pretty shit. And they all have secrets. So, like, pretty good and very, very disgusting still. Like,
Oh, really?
really. Just, yeah.
Victorian
Ugh.
Hospital. It's
Very good makeup. Very good special effects and stuff. It's amazing.
You also saw BoJack Horseman. You watched the rest of the series.
I watched all of BoJack Horseman and I realized something. I don't think that comedy is even their main goal in the show.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, so it is funny and the situations are interesting and you know, they have witty lines and cutaways and all that stuff, and it does get funnier every episode onward. But there's a certain episode that is told entirely from the perspective of the agent, Carolyn. And I had always thought she was kind of one note, like this character that is just like, I get it, she's a mean agent who's only out for herself, but she puts up a BoJack for some reason. Cool, we've seen this all before. But it's a really sad episode about how she does everything for this guy just because she can't get rid of him almost, and she keeps falling for him whenever he pretends or whenever he deludes himself into thinking that his life will have meaning if he's in love with someone. And it was just really well acted, like, and quite sad. And all the episodes after that just kind of looked at BoJack as someone who just wants to be good but isn't. Like, he really, really isn't.
Yeah.
And no matter what happens with regards to success or otherwise, he just can't be happy. and it's really good and sad and touching.
That sounds like a massive downer.
To be honest, there's at least 2 episodes that are super, super, super downers.
Really?
Like completely. I love them. They might be my favorite episodes in it.
Yeah.
But there's just a really great scene where he does the classic interrupting a speech thing. But it's like a speech no one gives a shit about, so it's, anyway.
Sorry, we've
And he
moved
does,
on there,
gives,
Sean. Yeah.
oh, sorry.
See what you did there?
I just really like it.
Yeah.
Is all. I just really, really like it. I watched the thing and I got super, super sad. And then they do this no noise, quiet fade out thing. And then someone goes, "Hey, you're the horse from that show."
Oh.
And then it ends. And it was just like a gut punch. Like it was such a shit thing. But anyway, I'd recommend it for anyone who
Did
even
you ever
liked it
see
a
that
bit.
episode, though, of Ren and Stimpy where Stimpy loses his fart? It made me cry when I saw that.
Wow.
That relates how?
Sad cartoons, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah?
Mike, Intruders, episode 2.
Yeah, seeing as you folks all shouting it from a height last week, I thought I'd just go and give it another chance.
Well, you know what? When I saw that you watched it, I decided, fuck it.
You sucker.
And I went to watch it as well. Go on, tell us.
Well, I still like it. The stuff that I liked in the first episode, we got more of, and a little bit extra.
Yeah.
But looking at it from your perspective, like you were giving out, there's too much setup, not enough information coming in. And there's still more setup going on. I have a funny feeling the entire series is going to be set up until the very end.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, but I think we're starting to reap some of the rewards of episode 1. I much more enjoyed episode 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I'm going to watch episode 3. In fact, I'd give episode 2 a thriller.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What a vote fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of builds up more threat and paranoia and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and the not knowing, I suppose, becomes a strength.
Yeah. James Frayne.
Mm-hmm. He's a bit of a legend,
isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. And John Sims was excellent as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Will you watch more?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I will as well. Yeah. What else was on? The All Ireland hurling final.
Hey!
You saw this?
I did.
I was following it on Twitter as well. Actually, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Because Sky are now showing it. British Sky Broadcasting Company. So this is a new sport. To a lot of their viewers outside of Ireland, let's say. So it's just hilarious to see their opinion on it. And there's the usual, they're describing it as legal murder and things like that. So it was such a great game. It was such a nail biter.
It was a great game,
and it actually ended in a draw. So we have a repeat.
Mm-hmm. Did you like that?
A rematch. Yeah, this weekend. Can't wait.
Yeah. I do kind of find it strange that British people are watching it, though, because, unless you've watched it since you were a kid, you probably won't be able to see where the shag and ball is.
Yeah. And, I was thinking, it's, to have seen hurling for the first time and seen that game, I'd have been hooked.
Yeah.
Straight in there, buying jerseys.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was such a brilliant game. Great introduction to it. Hurling won that day. As Is It a Bicycle tweeted. Yeah. What else was on? I finished Gomorrah. Season 1. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yep.
Can't wait for season 2.
What is that show?
This is based on the movie of the same name.
Okay.
Slightly different spelling. There's a H in one and not in the other.
Okay.
And it's based in Naples about a mafia family, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the trials and tribulations and rivalries with other mafia families and so on. But it's pretty hardcore. It's Sopranos looks kind of nice compared to.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So somewhere between Lillehammer and The Sopranos.
No.
And the Driller Killer, maybe.
Oh wait, no, Sopranos is
gritty.
It's
gritty.
right.
It's gritty.
So you'll be going to Naples on your holidays next year,
yeah? I've been. So that's okay. It's a nice city for me. Yeah. What else? Breaking Bad. Watching a bit of that. You've been watching a bit of that as well, Sean?
I've already seen it, but I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying it.
Oh yeah. Back on. I'm halfway through season 2 now.
Okay.
Yeah,
you were finishing season 1, I think, when we last spoke.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've heard there's, obviously we know there's the follow-up series apparently in production.
Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Better Call Saul.
It's great
the
news
prequel.
to have that it won't finish at the end of...
Yeah, the characters aren't over.
Like a safety blanket
5.
for you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you know, speaking of catching up to shows that everybody else already knows is great, but you're only watching now, I finished House of Cards and True Detective.
All right.
And I'm not even ready to talk about them yet. They were just so good.
Yeah.
True Detective had to be muted sometimes as I stress watched it because some parts were just...
It's pretty landmark, though.
Yeah.
You know, it's like The Wire. It's like Sopranos.
Yeah.
As well. You know, it's a landmark show.
Oh, I'm really glad I watched it. And it was not what I expected, so...
Oh, great. Yeah. So they're talking about a season 2.
Yeah, I hear that.
Different people, obviously.
Yeah, and
Hey, don't say nothing.
Well, we don't know.
I haven't seen it.
No, I'm not saying
Oh,
anything.
no, that's different, completely different characters, different story.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't like the implication that the characters don't survive the end of the show.
Oh, there's no implication of that, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, but they do die in the end.
Fuck you.
As do we all in the end.
Fuck you right in the fucking face.
Death comes to us all, Mike.
I watched the premiere of a new show called Boomers. I think it's by BBC. It must be because it's got Russ Abbott. Do you remember Russ Abbott?
Yes.
Yeah. So he's in it, and Neil from The Young Ones is in it, and so they play senior citizens. They're let's see, 3 couples, and the particular episode is about them reuniting to go to a funeral of a friend, and but it's quite enjoyable actually. It's sort of very, very funny. Now I could see the target audience is maybe a generation or 2 ahead of us. But I would say it's going to be quite popular. It's very witty in places, so probably won't watch anymore. But doesn't mean it's a bad show.
So it'll be all the talk in the pension queues at the post office.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, let's kick off. Okay, first up, we'll go to the news with me. Ballyurig, an ish, an nucht, telefish, agus canan, anot. That was pretty much good evening. This is the new television.
Oh, okay. I'm like, are we in a new show now?
So, Game of Thrones, we have just heard, will wrap up after season 7. Regardless of whether George gets his ass in gear and finishes
Really?
the books.
What?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
I didn't know this.
Wow.
Fuck.
Season 5 begins filming very soon and will appear on our screens in early-ish 2015. It'll be missing a couple of characters.
I heard that.
Bran and Hodor won't be there.
Are they going to follow what the books do and just kind of like go a whole book without touching on some characters? Because
Well,
there's so many goddamn characters.
They've actually advanced
Be
the
very
story.
careful here.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But they've advanced their story arc ahead
that's
of
true.
all the others in the timeline of the books.
Yeah, I was thinking
So
that.
there's actually not a whole lot further they can
Yeah,
bring it
by the
at
time the
moment,
other
so.
characters
Yeah.
catch up, they'll
Yeah.
be where Bran was. That's true.
Director Josh Boone says he's finished the script of his adaptation of Stephen King's The Stand. This is the first script ever approved by Mr. King, apparently. So here's hoping it's better than the 1994 effort, which starred Jamie Sheridan and Molly Ringwald, who some of you might not remember from Pretty in Pink.
Hey, don't be saying nothing about Molly. She still has a
I know
special
you've got a
place.
thing for her. Yeah, so I'm looking for. I love that book.
Pretty in Pink?
The Stand, thank you. It was one of my favorites. I've read it several times and got a taste for Coors Light after it. I was pretty disappointed, I think, with the series at the time, or the movie series, whatever they called it. But I hope this one is good. So, and lastly, well, not actually lastly, but Paramount has confirmed that the Terminator Genesis, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Emilia Clarke, which is going to arrive next summer.
Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Daenerys.
Yeah, she's going to play a Connors.
Oh, wow.
Jeez, how's it going? Will arrive, that's set to arrive next summer, right? But, it'll be followed by, 2 more movies. In 2017 and 18. I guess,
Will it
depending
follow-
on how next year's one goes. You know, but
Will it follow all the chapters of the Bible? So we start with Genesis. What comes after that? Like Matthew or Mark or something?
I don't know, but it's spelled coolly. It's Genisys.
Why would you do that? That's like
Genisys.
people naming their kids after like normal names, but then spelling it weird to be cool.
Oh,
Like Sean.
that's a bit of a touchy subject around here.
Oh yeah, one other thing I wanted to plug was the IFI in Dublin. This is for local listeners. Next Wednesday, they have their monthly gastronomic feature, which is followed by a meal in the IFI Cafe Bar. Mm-hmm. They're actually showing Hero Dreams of Sushi.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and that was one of our favourites from last year, so I think it's worth plugging. It's definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it, and you might have a taste for sushi by the end of it, and so they'll have some there. So, yeah, I think tickets are €20. So go for it.
And that includes num-nums?
Num-nums included, yeah.
Nice.
Fantastic. Geez, sure you couldn't beat it with a stick. And, let me see. Oh yeah, 2 other items. In Is It Bicycle news, I believe Sean was kicked out of Starbucks after he just awesomed all over the place. And Mike discovered a new word this week. Dipshitiot. There we go. So that's it from the news desk. August Nishanheimter. And back to
I was wondering, yeah, that's what I was waiting for. Back to me.
So first up, we'll start with the movie, The Rover. There we go. Mike.
This is Guy Pearce and Robert Pattinson in a post-apocalyptic Australia. Not quite Mad Max-ish, but probably not a whole far off it. And basically, Guy Pearce has lost his car, and he's determined to get it back at any cost. And Robert Pattinson is a slightly, I suppose, not the smartest kid around. Who is
a little bit simple.
Yeah, to put it nicely. And they team up to go and get this car, and they see a picture of life in post-apocalyptic Australia, which strangely still has electricity and quite a lot of cars that run, but yeah.
And cops.
Yeah. Well, they're more army kind of cops, aren't they?
I think it's set 10 years after an economic collapse.
Yeah.
Rather than a nuclear collapse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, very Mad Max-ish. Lots of visions of Mad Max. And there's a few other Australian movies, I'm sure.
Wolf Creek.
Stuff like that. You know, that it has that atmosphere, and it's very atmospheric, actually.
Yeah. It's almost spaghetti westernish.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. I love that bit, and the sound and the wind and the, you know, bits of corrugated metal banging and all that kind of stuff. It's great. It's great. Cinematography is fantastic. And, what do you think of the characters?
Absolutely loved them.
Did you?
Yep.
Yeah. Because I hadn't read great reviews.
No, it's gotten mixed kind of stuff. Yeah. Guy Pearce, I'm not normally a big fan, but I thought he did a fantastic job in this. It's just so intense. You know?
Yeah.
It doesn't say a whole lot. He just, you know, lets his actions do the talking. And Robert Pattinson, all is forgiven. The sparkly vampire.
Yeah.
You know, he finally got his haircut. You know, he's back in respectability. To be honest, I didn't realize the guy could act, but he did really well in this, I thought.
I only saw the trailer for this movie. I didn't have a chance to go see it, but that's one thing that struck me, is that the performances seemed like they were really strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing I liked about it was, I think it's Sean always talks about showing us rather than telling us. And there's an awful lot of backstory stuff that's just slipped in without anybody talking about it. So I like the way they did that. They didn't, you know, spoon feed us every damn thing that happened to these people. You're going to fill in the blanks for yourself.
Yeah. Do you remember a time when... You know, my dad used to say.
So I think they only really tell us 2 things about Guy Pearce's past, and that's it, you know. Despite several opportunities for a good in-depth discussion.
And what it was, The Road, I think, was another, you know, similar setup, but they didn't tell us a whole lot about the background, which again, it's another thing I like. We don't need it, and this is a perfect example of it. Which is. It can be the downfall of a lot of stuff that we watch. Yeah. It's just like they're explaining too much. You know? Sean, what did you think of this?
I think Mike hit the nail on the head there, and this is something I'm going to talk about later as well, but character through action rather than through talking is something that doesn't happen enough, I think, in film and in television. And that's all this is. Like any spare word that's said has such a large volume of weight behind it because of their silence. And also the actions are very extreme. Like whenever one is taken, like it has such a consequence, not just for, you know, the people being affected by the action physically or whatever, but for the people doing them as well. And there's character growth, which is so weird. Like in this kind of a movie, they could have gotten away with just having two guys next to each other doing this thing, and it would have been tense anyway.
Yeah.
But we see a character at least change, and that was fascinating to watch. And I agree as well, the visuals were amazing, and the sound. At a certain point, I like stopped listening, and I pulled myself back in. I was lost, and I think I was just listening to the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And not to what they were saying, and it was so alien almost from other things that I had watched and seen, and that was amazing. And I thought that the amount they told us about the world as well was perfect. It was just like, we know what it's like. It's, if there's I'll use a line from the Nick to describe it. It's what people would do if there were no rules and God wasn't watching. It's genuinely beautiful, and at a certain point, Guy Pearce, I thought he was the devil. At a certain point, he has a speech and he's just being vicious.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I think it's just because he wanted to be in a certain moment. And he says some stuff, and I would have believed it if you told me he was the devil at that moment. I would have gone, yeah, I'll buy that any day of the week. And that was horrifying, and the implications of it were well followed.
I thought it was very well done how they carried over the ambiguity of Guy Pearce's character. You know, he could be just a pure psychopath. He could be somebody who really controls his emotions really well, or he could just be somebody who's totally numb to the world that he's living in. And right up to the very end, you're not sure where he is on that spectrum. I thought that was really strong.
Yeah. The other thing is, this is such a simple plot.
Yeah.
It's such there's nothing complex about it. It's just a guy has his car stolen and he really, really, really wants it back. So he goes after them and happens to bump into one of the car thief's brothers and gets him to show him how to find his brother to get the car back.
Yeah. As I was watching the movie, I kept thinking, Ryan, I want that ball.
It was something that I was really worried about as the movie was going on, how it was going to end, and if that would make me hate the movie.
Yeah.
Like if there was going to be this like either lack of explanation or this like up in the air, we decided not to make a decision because that's easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, come on, you need to fucking, if you don't give me something at the end of this, I'm just going to feel so bad. Like I'm just going to be like, shit, yeah. You had me the whole way. Yeah. But the ending was amazing, and every line in it had a direct correlation to something that happened later on that you didn't need to pick up on. Like, so this is a non-spoiler one. At a certain point, Guy Pearce starts talking about, whose name I don't think we ever learn. Guy Pearce starts talking about, what do you think of when your feet hit the ground in the morning? And sure as shit, there's a scene later on where someone needs to stand up and get out of a bed. And that was really important. Like, it doesn't matter if you put those two things together, but when you do, you go, holy fuck, what is he thinking?
Yeah.
And I don't know, they kept doing stuff like that. Great ending and a great title, even though I thought it was shit before I watched it.
Yeah, I really have to agree with you on the ending. I was delighted that they had the balls to finish it properly, you know, because they really could have easily have wussed out on that one. Yeah.
Actually, the ending was really controversial. A lot of the reviews I read, you know, on Rotten Tomatoes and whatnot, the ending was the sticking point that a lot of people said.
Oh, really?
Really?
Bollocks.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of people hated that ending.
Wow.
I personally agree with Sean. I thought it was an absolutely perfect way to end the movie.
Yeah.
Wrapped up everything. So, well done.
This was quite a surprise.
Yeah.
Cause, it was like I said, I really wasn't expecting much. And I guess that's probably the best way to go into most movies. Yeah. Yeah, it was great. Do we have any more to say on this, or do we just say it's great?
Great.
That's great.
Everything is awesome.
Yeah, okay, so let's mark this. Mike?
I think I'm going to have to give this an 8. I really enjoyed it, and I'll probably watch it again if I get the opportunity.
Excellent.
I didn't see it, but I'm going to give it a thriller because I'm going to see it.
Is that based on our review?
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm going to give it an 8 as well. Same reasons, Mike. Sean?
I think we're all agreed. I'd give it an 8 as well. As good as Blue Ruin, which is a similar movie for anyone who sees this and wants something more like it.
Yeah, not a bad comparison, actually. Okay. First of our TV is Houdini. This is it's probably the title gives it away. It's two-part.
What's it about, Steve?
It's a biopic. Which way do you pronounce it?
It's a
Both.
Biopic, which both.
no. I mean, it is a biopic, and I thought when you
Or
called it
biopic.
biopic, you were just being funny. Same with the
I would
miniserie.
No, you see, this is the thing. I would normally call it a biopic.
Why?
But then during the week I heard someone say biopic, and I was like,
It's a picture of a biography. It's a biopic.
"Is that what it?" Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Biopic. Okay. So this is a 2-part miniserie. Yeah.
All right, Sean, pick your battles.
So it's stars Adrian Brody, which we last saw in Grand Budapest Hotel, and Kirsten Connolly, who we saw in House of Cards.
I knew her face.
Yeah, that's her.
Who is she in House of
the
Cards?
girlfriend / secretary.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
Peter
yeah.
Russo.
Yeah, see, Steve didn't actually know her face.
I'm not going to ask any follow-ups.
So this follows Houdini's humble beginnings and his rise to fame, and how they actually show how he performed some of his tricks, which is really interesting, and how his choices shaped his journey through life.
And I saw in the opening credits that it's based on, I think, a book written on Houdini, doing like a psychoanalysis. So rather than just focusing on the events in his life, like really getting into his head, I think, and about why
All right, yeah,
he pursued the
Yeah.
line of work that he did and why he made the choices he did,
yeah,
which I found interesting. I mean, that kind of shaped how I saw the episode.
yeah. Quite a long episode, I have to say.
Yes.
I didn't realize at the time. It was an hour and a
I
half.
mean,
or
its
something.
length and its production value, it's a film.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing really television about this.
Some interesting stories in there that, the people that he met, like Rasputin,
Yeah. Well, can we just back up in the fact
Yeah.
that he becomes like a spy?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
know
yeah,
that.
yeah. So when was that? This is pre-World War One, was it?
Yeah, I think it takes off around 1905, thereabouts.
Yeah, pre-World War One, and I'm just trying to think what age is he then. He's in his 20s then.
Dunno.
Didn't he die? Was he? Oh, hang on.
Don't
Well,
talk
tell us
about when
the
he
end, man.
dies. That's the
Yeah.
second episode.
I just ruined history again. Mike.
He meets a lot of famous people.
There we go, Sean.
Yeah,
Thank
in summary,
you.
thanks, Sean. Yeah. So what do we think of this?
I thought this was great. I kind of didn't have any expectations. I mean, this is an hour and a half long, and I think its production value really is kind of up there with films. It's one of those, definitely, I would think of it more as a film than a TV show. And I found it really captivating from kind of like what you said. They talk a bit about how he does some of the tricks, and that's kind of, it's great to see. But then also learning like his relationship with his mom, and, the first time he does some busking on the road and he gets some change, for a trick that he did, and he comes home and, he starts pulling coins out of his mom's ear, and he's like, "Look, Mom, money for nothing." And, that relationship was great. And then his relationship with his wife and his rise to fame about the hooks that he used for, getting audiences, into his show. I mean, it was I really enjoyed this episode. What about you, Mike? You're dead inside.
Yeah. See, my starting point is I'd no interest in Houdini or magic or that period of time. So when I started watching it, it was already deep into the red line on Mike's shitometer. So it briefly kind of came out of the red line, when they brought in the spy stuff, because that was, something other than magic tricks. But then it went right back in again when they started explaining to us exactly how he did every trick. I just didn't want to know that. It's more fun when you don't know. So maybe that's just me. But yeah, I hated it.
That's interesting, Mike, because you said that you didn't really care about magic, and then they start telling you how it works, and you go, "No, stop it! I love magic. Don't take it away from me." Also, it's on the History Channel, and my favorite part of it, pretty much the part that I liked, and that was it, was when he did tricks. And I was like, how's he going to get out of it? Here's exactly how he's going to get out of it. That's really clever. I was like, that's really clever. That's really good. What I didn't like were the various scenes that I guess they looked for where similar storylines had occurred in other films and movies and just went, can we just use those lines instead and replace the names? For example, did you know that sometimes when you get famous, you turn into a dick?
Wow.
It happens sometimes. How boring is that? Like, Houdini, you're really interesting. Oh, you're going to do the same thing, everybody.
Yeah.
Great. Cool. Are you going to try and tell that story in a different way to usual? No, it's the same. It's the same as usual, except he's Houdini. Congratulations. And his thing with his mom was great, but all his stuff with the wife was just like, I love you. Yeah, I love you as well. Great. Fine. I know that now. I don't really care. Like, I'm not that interested. That's what I thought about the movie. I weirdly agree with Mike, but for the completely opposite reason.
You took different roads, but you got to the same destination.
And I suppose one more thing. I don't really find Adrian Brody that likable.
No, I think that's...
I was kind of sitting there watching it thinking, who would I rather go for a pint with, Adrian Brody or Bruce Willis?
Is this a question you ask yourself? This person or Bruce Willis?
When I'm getting really, really bored and disengaged from what I'm watching, my mind starts playing little games to pass the time.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought, like, Houdini, like, his acting, though, as Houdini, with kind of, like, especially in the earlier years, the first, let's say, half of the episode, you see, like, the wide eyes, you see the curiosity, you see, that spark, and I think he did a really good job of bringing, I mean, I don't know anything about Houdini, I'm not, like, a magic buff either, but I could see a young magician kind of blossoming like that because of the curiosity and being really impressed by,
the
cool
drive
tricks.
and the enthusiasm as well,
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good too.
Yeah.
Now, likable, I'd say he's an interesting character. Yeah.
He'd be good at a dinner party.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you that much.
So tell us about Houdini. Okay.
Did you think it had a bit of the air of Sherlock, the Robert
Visual
Downey
style.
Jr.?
Oh,
Same
I thought
period.
you were going to say...
It's same period and the same kind of, like...
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like there were similarities when I was watching them.
Do you know what you're thinking of? And I may have just entered your brain and plucked an image out of it and spit shined it.
Get the
right?
fuck out, Sean.
Do
My
you
brain
know,
is password protected.
in both the Game of Shadows and even more so in the fucking whatever the second one is called, whatever the second Robert Downey Jr. movie is called, right? No, in those, I didn't hear that. In those movies, whenever Robert Downey
Sorry
fights
for the
somebody,
disruption. My brain is now setting itself on fire because
Sorry, Sean.
the password
Sorry,
has
Sean.
been guessed.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sean.
so whenever Robert Downey Jr. punches someone, they do slow motion and you see the punch and you see the flab go brr, 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 brr.
Yeah.
And that exact thing happens every time Houdini sees something he doesn't like. And then he labors the point by, we not only see a punch in the gut, but he says, worse than a punch in the gut. That happens 3 times. It's less than 90 minutes long. That happens 3 times. So I think that might have been what you were thinking of.
Well, that's definitely one of the things, that I wasn't aware of, but that would have definitely been one of the characteristics that the film shared. But I think also the kind of moodiness of the era. I don't know. Maybe it's just magic in that era. To me, everything is going to be the same. But it reminded me, anyways, of those Sherlock films.
Only shit.
No, not shit. I'm looking forward to seeing the second episode, Mike.
I've seen the second episode.
Have you already?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't you the little star pupil?
Yeah. No, you see, I enjoyed
Tell
the
us
first
about
one
it.
so much. I was just like,
And it
okay,
finishes on a cliffhanger, and you
Don't.
have to know how's it gonna end.
say
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, because I don't even know in real life how Houdini dies, so history is gonna surprise me here.
Oh, do you know?
Is he not dead yet?
No, it's not like Tupac. He's not the Tupac of the 18th century. I think that's all.
45 years of age.
Yeah, he's in a nursing home in Carolina.
Okay, Sean, thriller filler.
Really pretty, really educational, absolute filler.
Mike.
I'm really resentful of the fact you made me watch this, so total filler.
Expect revenge soon, Mike.
Yep.
Shona.
What's the not filler? Thriller. I liked it, and I'm going to see the next episode.
And I've watched the second one, so obviously I thought Thriller. Yeah. Yeah, educational. Mark, you might even like it. If you're listening. Okay, next up, movie quiz. The return.
No! Oh, God. I break out into cold sweats every time these happen.
Right, I need someone to keep scores, so I'll do it.
I thought you threw your earphones at me. I wasn't going to complain.
Okay, settle down, children.
Okay.
Settle down. Okay. So, Mike.
Steve.
Oh, we've already answered this one. Name the TV show that is a spin-off of the mega hit show Breaking Bad.
Oh, God. This is predicated on me actually listening when you speak, isn't it?
Yeah.
When I speak, Mike, you mean?
Or even remembering who speaks.
Time limit, Mike.
Saul Returns. Return of Saul.
Is that it, Mike?
Buzzer noise.
Yeah.
No.
The Return of the Saul.
No. Sean, there, go on.
Better Call Saul.
Ah, come on.
Okay.
It was a good effort.
Good bonus point there.
Not good enough, Mike.
Shona.
Yes.
Who won the award for Best Shirtless Performance at the 2014 MTV Awards?
Miley Cyrus.
Buzzer.
Did she wear nipple tassels?
Buzzer.
No.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Sean.
Buzzer. It was Zac Efron.
Yes, it was Sean. Sean has won already.
Point of order, Jennifer Aniston was cruelly robbed in that particular competition.
Sean, after being told you're too good at this game, which actor was banned from playing blackjack at the Hard Rock Casino in Las Vegas in May?
Which actor was banned in the Hard Rock Casino in May? Mark Ruffalo.
No. Put it out to the floor, anyone?
It has to be Robert Downey Jr.
No, unfortunately. Not a bad guess, though.
Brad Pitt? No, wait, George Clooney.
No.
Wait, who else is in those movies?
Jesus.
Matt Damon.
It was Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. I was going to get there eventually.
He was next,
He was.
Mike,
Can I have a half point for getting close?
Mike, name the movie based on the bad description.
The movie based on what?
The bad description. Transported to a surreal landscape, a young girl kills the first person she meets and then teams up with 3 strangers to kill again.
That's my weekend.
Oh, no idea.
No idea? Anyone? It's out on the floor? No one? Oh my goodness. Wizard of Oz, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Shona.
Wow.
A whiny teenage orphan and a creepy old guy go on a road trip.
Wait,
to
did you
meet
say
his estranged
whiny or
father.
horny?
You heard horny. Whiny. A whiny teenage orphan and creepy old guy go on a road trip to meet his estranged father.
Good. Family's important.
What?
Do I get a point?
No. No.
What, is there a question?
Yeah, what movie is it?
You didn't say what movie is it. You implied it, but you did not say it. Orphan, man, his dad. Twilight?
No. Put it to the floor, anyone?
Oh, it's Star Wars.
Yes, good man.
Good job.
Nice one. Sean, a sadistic slave owner systematically tortures children until one child gives him what he wants.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Good man.
We're getting the hang of this.
Yeah. Mike, an elderly woman disregards a lifetime of wealth, marriage, kids, and grandkids over the one time she rode a bum in the back of a car.
And it's not Mom, right? Titanic.
Yes, good man.
I was gonna guess Titanic. That was one.
Shona, moody teen encourages boyfriend to kill her.
Oh, that is Twilight.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sean, fish gets lost, then found.
Finding Nemo.
Yes, good man, Sean. Mike, is Walter White?
Yes.
Yes, he is. Good man, Mike. Shona, is Jack Black?
No.
Sorry, he is, actually. And Sean, is Chubby Checker?
No.
He was, I'm afraid,
Yes.
as it's slimming. Yeah.
God damn it.
So, in second place, we have Shona with 2.
Not last! Victory is
And in
mine!
joint first place, we have Mike and
That was so misleading! and then you
I
let
just
me
like-
celebrate.
I
Thanks. Yeah, I was
I'd just like to thank everyone and say that I'm really glad that Shona came last. I'd just like to, say thanks very much to Steve for putting it together. I'd like to thank my parents. And I thought that was a really good job.
Yeah.
By me.
Next up, we have the second of our movies. Are You Here? Sean.
Are You Here is a story about two friends played by Owen Wilson and Zach Galifianakis who journey back to Zach's childhood home after the death of his father. And they just kind of try and figure out life together while the will is being debated. Also, Zach Galifianakis has emotional problems.
Yes. More than emotional.
Yeah.
It's
Bipolar.
kind of a
Mental,
depressing
emotional,
case of
psychological.
undiagnosed bipolar.
Beard issues.
Beer issues. Yeah, so what do we think?
It didn't start out strong. I
Lee.
think it looked pretty boring and predictable, but then it started surprising me, and I enjoyed it. That's my brief review. That's it. See you all next week.
Mike.
I used to like Owen Wilson, but it seems more and more lately I'm seeing Owen Wilson playing Owen Wilson.
I was going to say, is it too
Yeah.
Owen Wilson for you?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Like Owen Wilson in Wedding Crashers.
Yeah,
kinda.
I'm just kind of Owen Wilsoned out.
He's got that kind of way of talking, you know. That's,
Yes. Yes.
I was actually going to say that this is like if Owen Wilson played the Eternal Child character that he's done many times in previous movies, but in a real world scenario. Because in a real world scenario, that guy is a dickhead. And I thought Owen Wilson was amazing at that. He was so mean. I hated him a number of times during this film.
Yes.
And he was way more shocking than when he's in one of those like comedies where he says like weird shit and you're like, oh, I can't believe he said that. And this you're like, I can't fucking believe he said that. And I think that's great. He's just like a morally inept and bankrupt person. He is not a person of substance, and he is doing everything within his power to run away from that.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's interesting to me. That's kind of the thing that made his performance interesting, while Zach Galifianakis just really did a similar thing where he does this crazy stuff, but no, seriously, he has a mental and emotional difficulty. Like, he has a problem that's causing behaviors that do not make things easy for anyone else, and also don't make things easy for himself, but he can't recognize it.
Yeah.
So it was like they went, do you want to be grown-ups? Yeah.
I think the real star of the show is Laura Ramsey, actually, who played Zach Galifianakis' stepmother.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, gotcha.
Has a striking resemblance to Lisa Hannigan, I thought. Both very cute.
The singer.
The Irish singer, yeah. Yeah. Very good Irish singer, actually. Big fan of hers.
I liked her performance too.
Yes. Comedy. Talk about comedy here.
Okay.
Was this a comedy?
This was my thing. Owen Wilson, Zach Galifianakis, and Amy Poehler. I see those three actors and I think, oh, this is going to be a comedy. So I expected this to be funny. And then it starts and you're watching Zach Galifianakis and it goes a long time before they even talk about diagnosing with bipolar. So I think he's just trying to be like the lovable buffoon like he is in all these other films. But it's really hard to just kind of be like, oh, isn't he funny? Because now you're just like, this man needs help. And he's too far down this hole to be able to help himself. And it got really depressing. And Amy Poehler either tends to be awesome and hilarious or kind of angry and bitchy. Those are the two characters I've seen her play.
I did not like her in this. Well, no,
Did you
she's a very,
see-
very good...
No, I know what you mean though.
I didn't like her character in this.
No, I didn't either, but I don't even think there was much to the character. Like, did you see, Adam Scott, who she co-stars in with Parks and Recreation? They did a film together called A Child of Divorce, and it's about Adam Scott kind of growing up as the child of, young divorced by parents, and she plays his stepmom, who is the same character basically, kind of bitchy and curt, and, so it was kind of the same character, and I think it's kind of unfortunate because she's got better skills, but I'm kind of curious in general, I think, about the casting, since, did they want us to think it's a comedy? Is that the point of this casting? I don't know.
I don't know if that's what it's dubbed as.
At a certain point, you have to think as well about marketing versus product. And those two things not necessarily being that connected. Like, if they do a test and go, right, if we just tell people it's a comedy, we'll probably make an extra $5 million.
Yeah.
Then that'll happen. In terms of the actors, I don't think that's a thing that goes in their heads. Casting directors are just looking for the most famous people they can find who want to do it and will suit. And I think that they did a good job there. I think the casting was well done. And I think Amy Poehler, I think the whole point of her character is she actually like really bad, or is she actually the only responsible person in the movie? And I didn't think that they gave her a definitive enough moment to answer that. I think that's what it was leading up to, and it just didn't happen.
Well, there was a really heartbreaking discussion she had with an Amish man when she was getting into a truck that made me tear up.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was quite powerful.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, the movie hits you from side to side sometimes, and you don't really expect it, because you get lulled back in.
All right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think the issue with the movie that I have is its pacing. It does, like, the traditional thing of the whole, okay, well, what's the main relationship? That should probably have a problem in it at some point. And, you know, up and down, and that's like almost in like a rom-com, for example, that's plotted within minutes. Like, you know where it's going to happen in the movie, right? And with this, they veer outside of it, but I almost think that they rush the climax of the movie in certain ways. Because, like, Owen Wilson's meanness at a certain point is so vast that I'm like, I don't know if you have enough time left to pull this back. I don't know if you're going to get enough in to make me not go, you are an absolute twat. Like, you need to not be here anymore. Like, just go. Like, it's not going to work. So I don't think that they managed that perfectly.
Did we need a part 2 or a TV series?
I don't know. I mean, I'm interested to see him fail constantly, because that's what I think the ending might leave us with regardless, you know, of whether it's happy or sad. I don't know if that guy ever grows up. Even if we're told that he does. I don't know if he ever would.
I think maybe some of the pacing issues might have been solved if they had if the end seemed rushed, perhaps the opening, like half of the film, maybe that took too long. Maybe the ratio of when things change could have happened earlier. Yeah.
Definitely the pacing, building it back in.
Like seeing Owen Wilson get high and go report the weather, like that they spend a lot of time focusing on that, and like you don't need as much time to kind of get, he's a boy child.
But one other thing about this, they bring up some big issues in this, and just kind of, they don't even really have the characters discuss them as big issues. But they're introduced, and I think they're left for the audience in a really beautiful way. Yeah. Like, there's a scene with the chicken, and vegetarianism is something that Zach Galifianakis deals with. Like, is he going to be a vegetarian? There are issues like that are introduced, and God obviously comes up, and you just kind of go, holy shit, wait. Are they about to have a serious discussion about XY issue? The movie wasn't leaning towards that. I'm not sure what's going to happen. And then they don't. They just have these lovely asides, and then they let you do whatever you want, you know? They let you make up your own mind.
And I would even add to that list, there's, you know, infertility, there's mental health, there's death. I mean, there's so many big ticket items, but the movie it doesn't really hit you over the head with, this is, you know, now we're going to have this deep moment about this other big issue. It's just kind of, it begins weaving this fabric of their lives, and, you know, you just kind of have a personal reaction, I suppose, as a viewer, without it being a bit over, hard-hitting or anything.
It's a movie about being in the world.
Yeah.
With some people who aren't very good at it. Yeah. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think it was cool at all. Here we go. It was a little bit funny to start with, and that was okay. And then it kind of stopped being funny. And then I found that I didn't have any interest in the characters or their conflicts or the potential resolutions to the conflicts. I just didn't care. And so I just really did not like this movie at all. It's not my cup of tea.
So what kind of a mark would you give it?
I'd be generous giving it a 4.
A 4?
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't so crazy about the beginning, like the first half. I was going to give it a lower mark, but I think by the time the film ended, I was really happy with the journey it took me on, so I'm going to give it a 7.
Yeah, similarly, I would give it a 7.
7, yeah. It's just about making a 6 for me. If we had a 5.5 mark, it would be 5.5. But it's not a 5, so I think it's a 6. Slightly above average for me, so. Last of our TV, which is the Cosmopolitan. Shona.
All right, so Sean informed me that Amazon are doing a thing where they are posting, is it 8 pilots
This is the third round of pilots, so there's a bunch of pilots that they have up on their website.
Okay.
All right.
So there's a bunch, and they've done rounds where they're posting pilots on Amazon.com or .co.uk, and they're asking viewers to vote, I'm assuming, on which pilot they'd like to see more of. And I suppose this is a kind of new way to involve viewers in choosing what television series come to their screens. And so we selected one of these pilots, and it's called The Cosmopolitans. So this is starring your man from the OC. I want to call him Adrian
Adam Brody.
Who?
Adam Brody.
Adam Brody, that's it. And a few other people who are Americans living in Paris.
Good-looking Americans.
Yeah, basically they're living in a Woody Allen film. That is this movie. They go to parties. There's one guy that reminds me of the guy that sleeps with Stifler's mom from American Pie. Yeah, it's a Woody Allen film, TV show pilot, but probably not even done as well as a Woody Allen film, with at least the interesting nuances of characters. I found these people wholly deplorable. I would hate to be in their company.
I was trying to figure out, are they students or what?
No, they're Parisians.
Oh, Parisians, yeah. Yeah, what do you call it? This was a very good-looking TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see there's a little bit of money in it. Good dialogue in it.
Good dialogue.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed. Now, I didn't enjoy the initial introduction, that I was just like, oh, Jesus. But once they got to that party that they went to, then I started to enjoy it more. And I think I'm going to watch another one.
Seriously?
Yeah,
that surprises me.
Yeah, you know what? It surprises me too. Because, yeah, it's, I don't know if it's the,
it's really kind of forced dialogue, isn't it? Well, to me, it sounds very unnatural.
It's the settings as well. Paris does look nice in some shots, but in a lot of it, it looks kind of not gaudy, but run down a bit.
Yeah.
Which isn't
kind of like the boîte à chambre that we see the woman in the beginning. You know, she's in basically like a broom closet and that is how it works in Paris for realsies.
Yeah, exactly. You'd never see that in Manhattan. No. A faucet always works, so, that kind of thing. So, anyway, that kind of, got my graw a little bit, but,
right.
But, when they got past all that and trying to describe the environment they're in and the first world problems that they have, and, they sort of got over and, I don't know, manned up a bit. And sort of got out and started when they got to their party.
Yeah.
That's when I started to enjoy it. Yeah. So the second half was better than the first half for me. Yeah.
I agree. The setting is beautiful. Like there's the credits roll over the skyline of Paris while a really, really beautiful song plays, and it's just like that's kind of amazing. Just looking at this is wow. I can't believe they get to do this. I think, so it comes back to the first thing I said in the review, the first thing we reviewed. Character through action is great. We don't get that here at all. What we get is character through talking about things with each other while a camera rolls, which I think was a disadvantage early on quite a bit. But as you were talking, I had this really weird thought, and I kind of hate myself for having it. And it was just like, wait a minute. In real life, people don't actually do that much. And there are so many vapid people who just want to go do kisses with pretty people and commodify other cultures. Wait a minute. There's no way this is realistic. Is this a super realistic TV show? Oh God, this is the worst. And now I have to give it credit for that. So, I've been in those conversations. That's what I was going to say. That's what my life is fucking like, having these stupid conversations. And about half the people you meet are you're just like, oh shit, I don't care if you've read that book, fuck off. Go do your thing. I just go. And I didn't think it was particularly well written. I thought there were some moments that were well written and some that were just like, blah, whatever. But the ending got me. Like, the ending made me go, because the whole way through I was like, I wish this was better. I wanted to watch this show. I wish this was better.
Yeah.
But the ending made me just kind of go, this is weirdly enigmatic. It's the first time these people have all been fucking quiet. Shit. Like, I wanted to find out what's going to happen. Shit. So yeah, I don't know. If it gets picked up, it's something that I'll definitely hop on.
When will we know this, you know?
I don't know when we'll know this, Steve.
Yeah.
The world is such an uncertain and frightening place. I just want Adam Brody to be okay.
Have we continued to watch any of the previous rounds of Amazon? Like, I can think of Alpha House. That was one with
Yes,
John
we watched
Goodman.
that.
Yeah.
We also watched the one from the X-Files creator about the 6 individuals in a post-apocalyptic scenario. Remember with the demony or whatever
cool.
thing?
Do you remember?
We watched that one. It's just about a bunch of people trapped in a car park at the start.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
they
yeah,
go
yeah.
up.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're
So that
all
was another one.
individuals. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, be interested to see more of this. Anyway, yeah.
But do you find it interesting that we're all looking for things to say about the show because there's nothing in it?
Well, it's only 20 minutes long or 25 minutes long, and they only go from like a chat where they set up the characters to a party.
A cafe to a
where
party
they
to the
meet-
metro.
Where they meet other characters.
Like
and they get a
life.
taxi home, you know. Pretty much. So, yeah. There's very little
I'll
to
give
say
you
about
this.
it at the moment. Yeah, you're right.
I would also say that it's an examination of being an expat. And this thing of like, oh no, like, while you might not think it's funny, the whole thing of we're Parisians now. We've been here for long enough. We're Parisians. I know how to speak French. Look at the way that I use this verb construction. I know how to conjugate this thing.
Yeah.
It's going to get me laid. Like, it's going to work. Like, all that stuff I think is really interesting, especially when one of the expats is from Spain or something.
Seriously.
And he talks about American culture and American men and how they let women walk all over them and all this stuff. I think that is interesting. I think there's probably better delivery of it, like seeing that in action would be better. And I think we saw some of it, but I'd like to see more. I think there are topics being discussed. They're just really first world ones.
I'm kind of disappointed that this wasn't set in somewhere like, I don't know, Budapest or Prague or somewhere. Well, no, Prague's a bit too Parisian as well, isn't it?
Naples.
It's kind of, yeah. But you see, if it was Rome or Prague or Paris, they tend to have quite a lot of Americans in them when you go to. Whereas, I'd like to see other cities come on the map on American TV, you know, and see how they explored those, because we know what everyone knows what Paris is like. You know, it's always on
But
TV. Well, no, you know, it should be. It's gorgeous, but I'd like to see other cities.
I would say one thing to your point, Sean, as an expat who was living in Paris for several years when I was working as a translator, one thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way is that, you know, how they all kept saying, you know, we're Parisians. I mean, I can understand that, you know, as a French translator, I was trying very hard to, you know, just use my French and be like, I can speak French, I live here, so, you know, why am I still such an outsider to this culture? But then the reality, I think, of living there is that you never have any money because it's so expensive. You're certainly not going to parties wearing heels and pearls. You're not going to fancy cafes and striking out conversations with guys who aren't creepy. So there's a lot that's very fantasy based about maybe an American perception of Paris, or at least an idealized version of Paris, when I think the reality for people living in Paris, especially foreigners, is a lot less glamorous. Unless you're working in, you know, a fancy industry. But I think for most people,
Like a fashion journalist?
maybe, yes, exactly. Does Chloe, is it Sevigny?
Yeah.
Her acting bugs me. It just seems really like, I'm an actor delivering lines. Now you speak. Interesting.
When I saw her, my first thought was, oh God, this is Sex and the City in Paris. You know, and it took me a few minutes to go, oh no, it's not, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know what you mean. Yeah. She's kind of in your face-ish. Yeah. So, trailer filler, Sean.
I don't think it's very good, but it's a thriller.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah. Same. Trailer.
Filler.
Filler. Okay. Okay. So last up, we have some previews in Coming to a Bicycle near you. Okay, so the first one we have is Fury. Mike, did you love this?
I did.
Yeah, I thought you
Yeah.
might. This is Brad Pitt's new one about tanks in World War II. Yeah.
Fight tanks.
Fight tanks. Yeah. So, well, I think it's more about a green GI, going over to be his gunner near the end of the war, and they were behind the lines in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's lots of shooting.
Yeah. And he's kept his crew alive, his company alive this long. Yeah.
I really hope Shia LaBeouf gets shot. Really painfully.
There was a line in it that you know, I can nearly picture the conversation, sort of like, but Serge, don't you want to go home? Home, son. This is home, as he pats the tank. You know? You know? I was just like, no, Brad Pitt, no.
You and I both know this is going to be a great fucking movie.
You know. I want to see more of him, like in, would you see him in what do you call it, Bastards? What do you call it?
Inglourious
Inglourious Bastards.
No,
that
that's
kind
a
of
horrible
character.
shit movie.
No, but I hope he's that
He needs
kind
to
of
make more of
character.
these.
What? What do you think of this?
Not my thing.
Love
I
it.
have to go see Kelly's Heroes
Oh, yeah.
on Friday with some colleagues. No, I haven't seen it before.
Oh, brilliant.
I was surprised to see a very young Donald Sutherland and a very young Clint Eastwood, right? Yeah. War movies just kind of bore me. They have to have a twist like Inglourious Bastards or something. Yeah, so this, even starring Brad Pitt, I could not care less.
More dialogue, less shooting.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one we looked at was,
Wait, you didn't tell us what you thought.
What? Do I thought I did in that line.
There was a very elaborate shrug
this is
from all
my
the
home,
listeners.
you know? No, yeah. I'll probably watch this because, I don't know, because it's kind of got shooty stuff in it and it's fight tanks. I don't know. It's kind of got potential, but I'm not too, enthusiastic about seeing it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It might work, but I'm feeling it won't. Anyway, Bang Bang Baby was the next one.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah,
God.
this was like I think it was described as a sci-fi musical.
Yeah.
In the trailer.
Is it set in the 50s? 50s, isn't it?
50s, but then there's like a weird thing growing in her stomach, and she's also singing to join Broadway. This looks like B-movie fodder.
Yeah, I thought Mike would love this.
Mike?
But yeah, and he said, dear God, no.
It's a fucking musical.
Yeah.
If they had taken all the song shite out of it, it had the makings of something worth watching.
But at least, you know, it's, in fairness, it's good music.
Yeah.
50s.
They're kind of trying to take off the 1950s. It came from outer space.
They are, exactly, and it's highly stylized in that way.
Yeah.
It's almost as stylized as Sin City.
That's so funny. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Really,
is that a really weird comparison to Sin City? But it's highly stylized is a good description
It's
for
not
it.
too far off that, and that's what I think is interesting, and I think they've gone so far with that. I think the rest of the movie will have potential based on that.
They've certainly found a very unique perspective to tell a story from, and they have gone whole hog.
Yeah. It's going to be B-movie special,
I think
Mike.
It looks terrible.
Not a chance I'm going to watch this.
No, me either. Is the music original, or is it?
I don't know. I don't know now. It's a pretty good voice, though.
I do like a good musical, but it has to make me cry, like Les Miserables, so I probably won't see like sci-fi musical.
Make me cry. Okay, the last one was Reclaim. This looks like John Cusack back to being good John Cusack. So John Cusack plays a
very bad John Cusack.
A very bad John Cusack. Yeah, so
con man, really.
It seems to be like a dude who sells babies for adoption. Essentially.
And then steals them back. So you're reaping pure profit.
And sells it, and then sells them again to some other looper.
So it's Ryan Felipe, and who's his wife?
Mrs. Felipe.
Ryan,
you mean the movie? Sorry.
Ryan Felipe and the woman who I forget. I can't have children, so they adopt a girl, and then one night the girl is taken from the room, and they go to the police, and the police kind of say this is a known kind of con. Don't go all vigilante style, but they do anyways, and then they get into a whole heap of shit because they are getting involved with some pretty dark people, headed up by John Cusack. So potential there to be pretty interesting.
The detective Louis Guzman. I love him. He's just so cool. He's got that real hey man kind of look about him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I think his wife is that his wife.
Oh, I recognized her from, I think she's the first Victoria in Twilight.
Raquel Lefebvre.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Twilight. It is her.
Yeah. She's the first,
She's in both of them, I think.
Well, see, in later, she's in the first two, that's right. Yeah. And then due to scheduling conflicts and then disagreements with the studio, she was replaced by a different, a
Where's my
different
money, man?
vampire. No, apparently what happened is that she went during her off time between shooting Twilight. She scheduled another film, and Twilight had said, "We don't want you doing any other films, so that you're ready to work at the drop of a hat."
Mm-hmm.
And then rather than accommodating her schedule like they would do for other cast members, they fired her to kind of make a point that
All right.
you are replaceable.
All right. No one's messing around here. Yeah.
So anyways, now she's starring alongside Ryan Felipe in a film, so yeah, good for her.
What do you think of this, Mike?
It's got John Cusack. I'd probably watch it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't if he wasn't in it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
agree.
the
He's a
same,
big
yeah,
draw.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was all the trailers we looked at this week. Yeah. So
Good stuff.
anything else before we finish? No. Okay. We'll leave it there then. So from Mike, Shona, Sean, and Steve, stay classy.